Well, what's going on? Million here with you. MILLIAN for millionspeaks.com, your vocal care and maintenance emporium. We're pouring it out is what we're doing today, getting your voice up and running. So I was hosting a workshop yesterday. We were talking about vocal care maintenance, and we were going, it was called Across the Vocal Spectrum. So we were covering a little bit of a lot of things. And one of the topics that we got into, and something that I always coach on, is the concept of muscle memory. And what that means is that when you do something long enough and you make it an intent and a purpose to do something a certain way, eventually the muscles will memorize where you are and put you in that position automatically. And you see that a lot of times when someone is driving. You know, you're used to where your hands go on the wheel. You react a certain way. You steer a certain way. Your muscle memory locks in from the time you learn to drive until you're actually driving along. You know, like when you drive along and you go from point A to point B, and you don't even remember how you got there. It's like, wait a second, when did this happen? Okay, so much muscle memory is locked in that you don't have to think about it anymore. Well, the problem is when we do voice training and when we do things like postural positioning or breathing positioning, anything like that, we get into an area where there's lots of bad habits that people already have, and a lot of them are lifetime. So it's really hard coded in. So we have to start making changes in, for instance, posture and how you stand and how you hold yourself to make sure there's enough room for air to come out so you're not straining your voice. Well, in the workshop yesterday, as I was mentioning this, I debunked a theory I think it's starting to become very debunked now, but people still mention this. They'll say it takes 21 days to change a habit. And here's a spoiler alert. That's crap. Doesn't happen. There was a doctor, his name is Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Got my notes over here. So Dr. Maxwell Maltz, 1960, he was a cosmetic, and back then they called it reconstructive surgeon. It wasn't like plastic surgeon. They didn't sanitize it back then. He was a reconstructive surgeon. And what he would do is when he would do a procedure, he would notice that after 21 days, people seemed to adapt to whatever reconstruction was changed. He would do surgeries where, let's say somebody lost a limb, like an arm or a leg or something. And they would notice that it would take a 21-day window before they start to officially adapt to it. So he eventually wrote a book about it. And that's what popularized this. So this is from 1960. So we're talking, 50, 60 years of this has been in our mental muscle memory for so long that everybody quotes it, but it's not the truth. And a lot of times that as studies were further done on that, they find that 21 days more applies to children because they have that neuroplasticity in their brain where they can pick up on things really, really quickly. And as their brain's developing, it just kind of grows into it. But once you reach the adult stage, you have a whole new animal coming at you. There was a study in 2009. It was the name was Tally, and what they determined is that the number of days to change a habit depends on a lot of things. And their number that they came up with, which is I think about right, is about 66 days on average. Now, depending on what the task is, if it's something complex, if it's something very minor, like just sitting up instead of slouching over, for instance, that could be almost immediate. If it's something like multiple forms of breathing, posture, and everything, well, I don't think you're picking it up in 21 days. You can get better, but I don't think you're getting it locked in. So there's a little bit of a difference. They determined that 18 to 254 days was the range that they saw. It's like, okay, so it could be anything really. But when it comes to vocal training, what I've noticed is there's about an 8-week window. So if you practice the things that I give you and you're coaching with me and I show you some stuff, don't get immediately discouraged if you're not seeing what you want. Give it some time. Okay, you got to work at it. This is going to be a lifelong thing, so you have time. Okay, make it just part of everyday life. A later study gave us a couple obvious things. I think the study was Quinn from, I forget when it was. I want to say 2016. I don't have it openly available right now. But Quinn, whenever it was, 2010, I found it, excuse me. They found that the most effective way to build a habit was by tacking something like pleasurable to it, or trying to be mindful of what you're doing and not slip up, like trying to avoid mistakes. So if you can obviously, and I'm going to let me back up, the feeling pleasure thing, that was Phillips is the name of the study from 2016. So my apologies for that. So Quinn is about being mindful of a bad habit and being aware to fix it. Phillips from 16 was, if you tack something immediately rewarding or pleasurable to it, then it locks in a little faster. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? If you enjoy doing something, you're going to want to do it more. And so when we're doing our vocal speech, our vocal presentations or speech, whatever it is, and if you can get a little more resonance out of your voice by doing some of these exercises, and you get on a stage or you practice it and you immediately feel a difference. There's a couple exercises I show people that demonstrate this. You can get an immediate burst of power and momentum off of what you do. And it's like instant reward. It's like, oh, I see that. I was training with a student, and I have actually somewhere around here, I have a decibel meter, which measures loudness. And I had him say a couple sentences. Then I showed him a mask resonance exercise. And I said, now try it. And we did the decibel meter, and it just shot right up because he was able to immediately see a quantifiable result. So you can make these changes. Yes. Are there things you can change? Yes, because even if you're the best speaker in the world, even the best can get better. In any sport, take the best player. That player can get better. That player has a coach. That player does drills. That player does practice. They do warm-ups. They do cool-downs. I always say, you want to be a professional, you got to do professional things. You want radical results, you got to do radical things. It's just how it is. And so I tell you all this because if you're getting discouraged, please stay at it. Okay, you have nothing else. It's not like there's a set deadline to get this done by. Just make it part of your everyday. Keep working at it and always just be aware of where you are. If there's nothing else you do, get the posture nice and straight, get the breath nice and low, get the power nice and even coming out of you, get the tone nice and even coming out of you. And just doing that alone will make a world of difference. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, that's where I come in. Check out my website. It's millionspeaks.com/coaching. Okay, go on there. Everybody that works with me always does one first lesson free. So it's a 30-minute, it's like an evaluation. We'll go through, I'll put you through some tests and put you through the paces, and we'll see what you can do. We'll see where the issue is. We'll find out what your story is, and I will tailor something that's specifically bespoke to you that will actually help you specifically. And then we could decide from there what you want to do. But come set up an appointment, come talk to me, and let's see what you got going on. In the meantime, you're welcome to follow me on all the socials at Million Speaks, and millionspeaks.com/coaching is where you can actually schedule. Please go ahead and do that. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments anywhere on the socials that you're seeing this particular video. And I'm pretty easy to find. You can DM me as well, but make sure you also follow, like, subscribe, bell notifications, whichever platform you're on, do the whole shebang for me. If you would please like my video, and I would definitely appreciate your help. All right, guys, Million out. See you soon.